I am an old man now. My eyes are weak, and my hands shake when I drink water. But there are things I still remember clearly. When I close my eyes, I still see the fire, the faces, the river of blood. I remember the smell of smoke mixed with iron and fear. That night never left me. It started long before the fighting. Back then, our village Okionda was a quiet place in the heart of Edo land. We were farmers, hunters, and carvers. We lived close to one another. Everyone knew everyone. The air always smelled of yam porridge and palm wine. Life was simple. Hard, but simple. Then one day, they came. They arrived from the forest path, a group of tired strangers. They said they had come from the east, from a land where war had burned everything. They looked hungry, their clothes torn, children crying. Their leader, a tall man named Oga, spoke gently. He said they only wanted a place to stay. He said they would work, help, and live in peace. Our elders met under the big tree to decide. Some wanted to send them away. They said, "We do not know these people." But our chief, Oviosa, was a kind man. He said, "We are all human. Tomorrow, it could be us needing help." So, we gave them land. It was the peace by the river, the red soil that no one farmed much. We shared our water, our food, even our joy. We helped them build huts. When their women gave birth, our women helped them. When their men went to farm, we lent them tools. For some years, everything was peaceful. They joined our markets, our festivals. They brought strange songs and dances. They laughed with us, married our daughters, drank from our calabashes. But after a while, things began to change. At first, it was small things. A goat missing. A yam pile disappearing overnight. Then someone found his traps destroyed in the bush. But the chief said, "Do not accuse without proof." He was a man of peace. But peace only lasts when both sides want it. One evening, a young hunter named Adeki came running from the forest, shouting that he had seen two of the strangers stealing from his traps. The elders called for a meeting. The men were brought forward, but they denied everything. They even swore by the shrine that they were innocent. The next day, Hideki disappeared. We found him near the river face down.
No one said anything, but everyone knew. From that day, fear entered our hearts. Then came the women. Some of our wives began to change. They would go to fetch water and return with strange smiles. A few started sleeping in the strangers' huts. When their husbands confronted them, they cried and said they didn't know what came over them. Some said the strangers used charms. Others said the women were just weak. The village was no longer one. Suspicion grew like weeds. One night, I was coming from my uncle's farm when I saw something that froze my blood. Near the river, I saw Oga, the strangers' leader, sitting in a circle with his men. In the middle of them was a clay pot filled with blood. They were chanting words I couldn't understand. There was something inside the pot that moved like a small animal. But it was not an animal. I ran home shaking. I told my father what I saw, but he told me to keep quiet. He said, "You are just a boy. Let the elders handle it." But the elders didn't handle it. Soon after, more strange things happened. Our crops started dying. The river water turned black one morning and smelled of rot. Children fell sick. A woman went mad after finding her baby missing. We searched everywhere but only found the child's wrapper floating on the river. The chief called for the strangers again. But this time Oga didn't bow like before. He stood tall, looked the chief in the eye, and said, "This land belongs to us now. You gave it to us. We have made it our home. We will not leave." The chief's guards reached for their cutlasses. But Oviosa stopped them. He said, "This is not the way." He was still trying to keep peace. But the time for peace had ended. That night, the attack came. It started with fire. The strangers set huts ablaze. They moved through the village, screaming in their language, carrying spears and torches. They killed men first, then took women. The air filled with smoke and blood. I saw my father trying to fight them with a machete. 3 of them cornered him. He cut one down, but another struck him on the head with a club. He fell and did not move again. I hid under my mother's bed. The floor shook from footsteps. I heard her scream outside. When I came out, the hut was on fire. I ran through the smoke, tripping over bodies. The village square was filled with the dead. The shrine had been broken. Idols scattered by dawn. The chief gathered what was left of our men. They tied charms around their arms and went to the river. They waited for the strangers. The battle lasted the whole day. It was not like the stories of brave warriors. It was chaos, shouting, crying, blood. I saw my uncle's head split open with an axe. I saw Oga stabbing a man again and again, even after he was dead. But our men fought like spirits. They fought for everything, for their wives, their children, their dead. When Oga fell, pierced by a spear through his back, the strangers began to run. Some tried to cross the river, but arrows found them before they reached the other side. When it was over, the ground was red. The river carried bodies downstream. The air stank of death for days. We buried our people on one side of the hill, and the strangers on the other. The chief said no one must ever build or farm near that river again. He poured palm wine on the ground and said, "Let their blood stay where it fell." 4 years after, no one talked about it. But the land did not forget. Sometimes at night, when the moon was red, dogs barked at nothing. The river bubbled, even when the air was still. Hunters said they heard voices near the old graves, calling their names softly, like the dead wanted company. Some nights, people saw lights moving along the riverbank, small and dim like lanterns carried by invisible hands. I once went there myself when I was a young man. I wanted to see if the stories were true. I shouldn't have gone. It was quiet at first, too quiet. Then I heard splashing in the water. I thought it was fish until I saw a hand, pale and wet, rise from the river and drag something under. I ran till my legs gave way. I never went back. Now I am old, and most of those who lived through it are gone. The young ones don't believe me when I tell them. They think it's just an old man's tale. They go near that river to take pictures and laugh. But when the rains come heavy and the water turns red, they remember. They say it's mud. I know it's not. I still hear them, the strangers and our dead, whispering from the water, asking why we ever gave them that land.